Alright guys, hello, this is Elric here, and I just wanted to give a little review on the current new patch of Last Epoch. This is their Season 2 release. I do believe it's called Tomb of the Erased. It has been pretty fun so far. I just made it into early monoliths, as you can see right here. They so far have not been much different from what I've experienced in the past, but then again, I literally just started them, so I'm not too worried about the fact that they may or may not be different. I'm sure they are. I've already encountered some of the creatures that are more new, and I've already played through an arena which they have updated and made faster and better, and the enemies swarm you a lot faster, which is good. As someone who has been playing Last Epoch for about 300 hours, I can say that before this patch, I had a few issues with Last Epoch. Overall, it was an amazing game, but the issues I had were that obviously the issues everybody had, which was in-game was boring. It did not take long for you to hit this part of the grind where it was just started being incredibly boring and there was nothing to do. After a while, there was basically like this gear grind where you get a unique to drop. It's got some LP, legendary potential, and then you look for a mod on a piece of gear as an exalted mod. Those being the highest mods you can get in the game. You can't craft the highest mods. You have to find them. Legendary Potential allows you to add those exalted mods onto the unique that you found with Legendary Potential. It can go from 1 to 4. Rare items in this game have 4 mods, including exalted items, which are just a rare with an exalted mod on them, or 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever. But so the end game basically is just that grind. It's finding uniques, getting a item that has enough legendary potential, say like 2 or 3 usually, because 4 is pretty hard to find, but you can get lucky. Then getting exalteds, which you will be getting a lot of, that has high enough mod, the 7th tier, which is the highest, and take the mod you want and then slap it onto the unique with the legendary potential. That's a great end game for a little bit, but it gets monotonous fast, especially when there's not much else to do. You know, there's no alternative to monoliths, really. Like, there's arenas, which kind of throw it off, but they're in the middle of monoliths. There's dungeons, but those are kind of like an attachment to monoliths. The entire end game revolves around monoliths, but there's not, at least, again, in the past, there wasn't anything else to do other than monoliths. And as far as I know, they've added a couple more things in monoliths, say like the Weaver's stuff, the tombs and the cemeteries, that are like cool, and they're procedurally generated content that are part of this, which give you more and more loot, but they are still fundamentally attached to monoliths in a way. And the new faction also allows you a lot more customization around monoliths, but I don't think that really solves the core issue. And this is what a lot of ARPGs, I feel like, don't necessarily understand, especially, it seems, even GGG themselves at this point with PoE 2 a little bit, is the reason why PoE 1's endgame is amazing to me, and for hopefully a lot of other people, maybe not, maybe I'm off base, is the amount of stuff, and forgive me for the comparison, but PoE 1's endgame is the gold standard that everybody should follow. The reason it's so good, in my opinion, is because there's ways that you can go and do other stuff if you want to. Mapping isn't the only thing you have to do. Hell, bossing sometimes feels like an entirely separate activity than mapping. Yeah, a lot of now you have to map a little bit to get your boss fragments, but especially on trade, if you make enough currency, you can just buy the invitations and just do bossing. If you want to just do blighted maps. Those aren't the same as regular maps. You can literally just go do blighted maps, and that's it. That's all you need to do. You can go do delve, and that's its own whole conversation. You can go do heist, and it's its whole own conversation. But there's also a plethora of content in the maps themselves. So these, and you can go and do bestiary, which is like a crafting side of things, but you can do that if you want to. It's not just mapping in its various branches. It's literally mapping is a completely separate branch with a whole bunch of stuff on it. There's bossing, which is connected kind of to mapping, but it doesn't have to be if you make enough currency. There's blight, which is it is kind of mapping, but you have to get the blighted maps through them. But again, if you want to buy the stuff on trade, which is what they balance everything around, it's its own different set of content. And my point in lies that until companies start realizing that that is what makes these in-game content cycles better, in my opinion, the idea that you don't have to just focus on the one content thing. You can vary the gameplay around these monoliths as much as you want, but at the end of the day, if it's just go into the Echo, kill all the monsters, get the loot, go out, loot the chest, you're done, and then there's a bunch of events and stuff in between there, it doesn't really matter, because eventually those events are all going to get samey. You're going to run into the same issue. Even if it elongates the issue out further away, you're going to run into the same issue. And as far as I know, that hasn't changed in this. They've added a couple Uber bosses and stuff, which is awesome, but I still don't think there's anything outside of monoliths to help you get away from that monotonous feeling of that you're just grinding the same thing the whole time. Now again, I will have an update video of when I'm done with Last Epoch, and I will tell you whether that feeling is still there, but I have a feeling that that's going to still exist. It's just going to be further away now. Does that mean that this game is bad? No, everybody gets tired of games. This game is not bad because of that. But if their goal is to make in-game hold out as much as PoE1's in-game has and become a gold standard, then that's the idea they need to go for, is not just adding things into monoliths, but adding side stuff that they can do that feel like a diversion from monoliths altogether, that feel like a separate game mode almost that you're playing. In my opinion, that's what other ARPGs, even PoE2 needs to do this. Something outside of the main activity that you can go do and just do something different. That doesn't mean that you have to, and that if you want to just do the maps, you can, or you just want to go boss, you can. But anyway, from what I've played so far, campaign amazing, if a little easy in my opinion. The events that you get in the game in the middle of content while playing campaign, you get mages, exiled mages, which are awesome. You get the nemesis system, which is awesome. You get loot chests that are all over the place that you open and are awesome. You blow up screens. It's a loot fest. It's awesome. I love it. Excuse me. So campaign is good, if not a little easy, for my build at least. And I'm playing a Sentinel/Paladin, which was a reworked class. So therefore, it's probably going to be a little bit better than most. I had a lot easier time in playing it. This class seems tanky as hell. It's this. Judgment. Stuff like that. Anyway, that's my short review right now because I'm not far enough into the monoliths to really give a good review of the monolith system yet. But those are my what I want to say and how I feel about this game right now. Overall, I would say it's 8 out of 10 campaign run. You won't be bored, and even if you are, there are ways to skip it. You can get almost straight to mapping, like right after Act 2 in this game. So if you know your stuff, you can literally just skip the campaign, which is cool. If your build feels strong enough, I guess, you can go do that. But for anybody who feels like the game is easy, skipping the monoliths will help, but you're not going to run into any real issues until around level 80 or so when you're starting your empowered monoliths, which that's quite a bit of time to kind of not really feel super engaged, you know? And your mileage may vary with this, obviously. Overall, the game is a 7 or 8 out of 10 to me, and it probably will only get better from here. So, thank you very much. I appreciate it, guys. Peace out.